Hey everybody, today I want to do a little bit of a different video. As an American, November means Thanksgiving, and I think a lot more about like materialism, consumerism, gratitude, contentment, what's enough, what's not enough, and that combined with a lot of booktube videos lately about slow reading and am I a good enough reader and all those kinds of things have kind of culminated into me wanting to do this video. So, as a person who, yes, let me start at the beginning. Okay. I read The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up a couple years ago, just like everybody else. And the basic gist of that is own things that you think are beautiful or necessary and get rid of the extra stuff because it takes away from you. I totally get that. Like, I really do. Now, finding the time and energy to go through everything and really, really ask those questions is a whole nother ball game, especially with kids. Yeah, because I feel like things just breed when you have children, and we have 3. So, yes, so there's that. So that kind of started me thinking about going through more formally and trying to cull things. Now, that said, I've also been on BookTube looking around for about a year and a half, maybe, I don't know, longer even, as well as listening to several podcasts on books. So I'm always hearing about good books. There are so many good books, and then you go to the bookstore and you see all the pretty covers, and it's really hard not to want to get all of them. But we are a one-income family, and that is not something that I could afford to do, let alone really would want to do. I would rather spend the money for traveling or having some experiences with my kids. So, how do you negotiate wanting all the books while not purchasing all of them is something that I've been kind of trying to navigate and figure out. And I came up with some practical things that hopefully will help you. I think they've helped me. This video is not meant to guilt or shame anybody who feels like they can afford to buy extra books and that's what they want to do. If that's you, go for it. So, tip number 1 is the library. Use it. For me, this means having a relationship with our librarians. We talk with them. We, celebrate them at Christmas time. I really love what they do. And one of the services that I think most valuable as a busy parent is the hold shelf. For me, it is amazing that people can just come in online and type in their wish list of, can you please put these on a shelf for me? And then the librarians get them, put them on a shelf, nicely alphabetized with your name, and you can go pick them up. I adore that. So a lot of times when I go to the library, I will just take the kids to the kids section, get their things, and then go pick up my holds without even looking at the adult things, because then I'll just add more and my bag is heavy enough as it is. So you can also use your waiting list. If there is a new release coming out, a lot of times I've been lucky enough to get to be number 1 or number 2 on the waiting list for a new release. And that's awesome because if I read a book and I love it, I can put it on my wish list and look for it on clearance or something along those lines. But if I don't, or even if I start it and think halfway through, this is not what I want, or even 50 pages in, I can put it down without feeling any buyer's remorse or guilt over it at all. I can just simply take it back and get it a different time if I decide to do that. So those are 2 really great things that you can do. I know a lot of times I am not a huge e-reader. It's not something I love doing, but you can also download books from your library at the click of a button if that's something you want to do, and then decide if that's something you want to own on your shelf. So those are some really great ways to use your library to make your pocketbook less nervous or and to kind of make sure that you're not getting things on your shelf that you don't really love. Another thing, when you are purchasing something, deciding ahead of time, where is your threshold? If a pretty cover is your threshold, you're going to be spending a lot of money because there's some really beautiful covers out there. So for me, it has to be a book that I will be recommending so many times that I will feel like I have to have on hand. Or it has to be a nonfiction book that I will refer back to oftentimes. I'm a little bit more lenient with picture books. Picture books because, at least my kids, we will reread and reread and reread certain picture books over and over again. And so for me, that's probably more my splurge where I feel a little bit more likely to purchase a book just because we love them so much. So a lot of times I'll check them out from the library. If I check out a picture book 2 or 3 times it's probably time to add it to the wish list. As far as getting things cheaper, I do use Amazon sometimes, but I've also just found betterworldbooks.com, which sometimes they'll even sell through Amazon. But if you go through Better World Books, they're pretty inexpensive, and it's free shipping, and they'll donate to charity, which I really appreciate a lot, contributing to a cause that will give back to the community. So those are some things to kind of lessen your pocketbook. If you really loved the experience of having the book, but you probably won't reread it again, feel free to, just journal it down in a reading journal. Sometimes I will take screenshots of a quote that I really love or an illustration, just so I had that kind of tangible thing. And this is the thing that I've actually just recently started doing that makes me really super happy. I am not a huge trained artist. I like to practice, and I am a firm believer that anybody can draw something. It does not have to be good. You can just try your best. So whatever. Take that with what you want. I've started doing a reading journal art of the covers that I've been reading. And this is actually October. It's not quite finished, but you can see the mothers in there, the Nightingale, Super Better, several of these other ones. I also started doing September. But I thought this was a really cool way of remembering the book, feeling the joy of having the cover. I can journal at the bottom if there's something I really want to not forget. And then at the end of the year, or 5 years, or whatever it takes to fill this one, I have a record of the books that I read. And it's not just on Goodreads. The idea came from when I was looking at our Goodreads, the reading challenge, and I can see all the pretty covers, and it made me happy. I thought, why don't I just do that? When I'm doing my doodle or my art of the cover, I'm remembering the experience of what I loved about the book. And you can even do little captions or whatever else. You could expand it and just do like a graphic, a little like comic strip of your favorite parts of the book if you want. You can really expand this idea. If you're a homeschooling family, take it and have your kids do it. I think that's a really cool thing. We like to do a lot of art projects with books with my kids. So that's one way you can kind of own the experience without adding to your already bulging shelves. So another thing that I've been meaning to do and haven't gotten a chance to do yet, and I want to show you when I do get around to doing it, is for those covers that you have of books that you are just like, I hate this cover. There are so many tutorials online to cover your book and make your own cover. So I'm really excited about working on that over the winter, where I have a little bit more time inside, is to just take the books that I love, that I got on clearance from Half Price Books, and redesigning a cover for it with my favorite parts of that book and having it on my shelf. It's a way to personalize your art and your reading, and I really think that's a really cool thing. I'm also wanting to do a poster of my favorite book covers, so I can kind of just have a beautiful version of my own thing that I've done. Yeah, there's some really neat things you can do to cheaply enjoy the experience of reading without adding to your shelves. I know it's really easy to look at what everybody else is hauling, but if you also think about it, there's just as many people that are unhauling things. You don't need to be that person who owns all the best books. I know it would be fun. And when we look at Beauty and the Beast and that beautiful library, we all want to have that, but it's just not feasible. And we don't have a housekeeper to dust any of it. Like, it's just not worth it, people. So I really want to encourage that you all to think about what makes you purchase the book, and what would help you kind of feel better about what you have, and being content with it, and not just purchasing because you feel like you're supposed to. BookTube is a great community, but a lot of times it can kind of aggravate that consumer monster. And yeah, I'd really want to encourage you to walk your own path and really love the books that you do own, and only own books that you love. So what do you guys think about this? Have you been thinking about culling your shelves? Have you felt overwhelmed? What are some ways that you use creativity to kind of expand your reading experience? I would love to hear thoughts on any of this in the comments. Please go ahead and put them there. If you are liking this, go ahead and like it or subscribe. I would really love to continue this discussion, especially with the holidays right around the corner, and I know all of us will be doing our wish lists. So please go ahead and talk. I would really want to hear what you have to say on this. So talk to you later. Bye.